and welcome to Your Stocks in the Mumbai studio. I'm Ekta Batra. You're watching Your Stocks this afternoon. It's turning out to be a down day for the market. So what started off as probably a more resilient day is now turned into weakness. So we have the Nifty, which is down around 275 odd points. We have the sensex, which is shed around 1,000 odd points plus. And the bank Nifty, which is down around 1% as well. So weakness across the board. Advanced decline ratio extremely weak at around 1:2. 1,350 stocks advancing to around 2,600 stocks declining, and that crisscross should be up on your screen, as you can see. Well, joining us this afternoon, we have Shahina Mukadam, independent market expert, and Vaishali Parekh, head of tech research at Prabhudas, Lilladher, to answer all of your queries. As always, afternoon, ladies. And before we go ahead, Vaishali, wanted your view in terms of the technicals of the market. It's a down day for us. How would you approach it?
Very good afternoon, ladies. So yes, this was much awaited. 22,800 has been the level that we have been waiting for. We witnessed that in the morning, and from there on, there is profit booking emerging. So I would say yes, there is now for today, I would say 22,350 should be the crucial support level. If we break those, we can go towards 22,200. So for now, Nifty makes a double top at 22,800 because the previous high was also 22,765 or so. So pretty much on the same level. So for this trend to continue, we need to hold on to these levels, failing which we could see some downside.
Okay, all right. Well, that's on the Nifty. Specifically on the bank Nifty, any approach that you would probably highlight?
So Bank Nifty also, I mean, as such, the trend is really not damaged. For near term, I would say 48,000 levels should be the level that one should watch for. Because if those levels are broken, then of course it would trigger further selling towards 47,200 or so. So let's wait and watch. Today is one such day. Let's see what happens Monday.
Okay, all right. On a week-to-date basis, the Nifty and the Sensex have now turned into the red. So the Nifty was holding with a gain of around 0.2%, but as the day progressed, it's now slipped into the red on a week-to-date basis. It's probably, if it sustains at these levels, going to go home with losses of around 0.1%. Mid-cap index still managing to hold its head above the water, up around 0.3% currently for the mid-cap index. Lot of queries in the next 30 odd minutes. First up, Om Jindal writes to us from New Delhi. He holds 3,500 shares of NHPC, which he's bought at around 99 rupees. He wants to know what to do with his holdings at these levels. Well, Shahina, you go first on this one.
Well, at current levels, it's still a hold. Valuations are not cheap. If you look at price to book, it's about 2.6 times. Having said that, I think the demand for power is likely to remain very strong going forward. And NHPC has got good projects both in solar. In UP, it's signed for a new solar project. Of course, it's the largest in hydro. So I think one can hold for the medium to long term.
Okay, so you would recommend holding for the medium to the long term. Vaishali, what would you recommend? Because while the stock has gained quite significantly, it's still off the highs of around 115 odd rupees. So do you think there's further upside technically?
So technically, it is showing strength actually, and I would say that yes, it's still in a long-term consolidation. So unless and until we see the stock moving above 100 levels, I think it is going to continue having a range of 90 to 100. Above 100, it gives us a clarified view that yes, we would be heading more towards 150 to 120 levels. So trend-wise, it is showing strength.
Okay, all right. Trend-wise, it's showing strength. That's the word on NHPC. Siddharth writes to us from Delhi, holds 500 shares of REC, which is bought at around 499. So he's sitting on a profit, wants to know what to do with this particular counter. Vaishali, you go first on this one.
I think this stock has really shown a good run-up. So either book partial profit or keep holding for a trading stop loss, because our technical target of 565, 580 has been done with. So I think partial profit booking should be the key to this.
Oh, okay. So you'd recommend partial profit booking. Remember, the stock has given returns of around 300% in the past 12 months. And in fact, was at a fresh 52-week high post its Q4 numbers as well. So good performance, which it reported. From that perspective, Shahina, what would your fundamental call be on REC?
Well, the stock has definitely rallied substantially. At the same time, even at current levels, I wouldn't say the valuations are extremely stretched because if you see the numbers, you saw the fourth quarter numbers, very strong numbers, and the management has guided that the 3.5% net interest margin, they are likely to continue even into FY25. Balance sheet is strong. They've got a lot of projects. They've got a lot of projects on hand, very optimistic commentary. So I would say continue to hold.
Okay, all right. You would recommend continuing to hold on that one. Vikas Vij now writes to us from Gurgaon. He holds 300 shares of BSE, which is bought at the rate of 950 odd rupees. He's sitting on a very good profit there. Wants to know the outlook for the stock. Well, Vaishali, do you think there's further upside for BSE on the technicals?
So, well, right now, even this stock, the overall long-term trend still continues to be positive. But if in market witnesses some choppiness, it would retest the previous low of around 2600 levels. So 26 should act as a crucial support, and it will witness a range of 2600 to 3000 levels. Above 3000, I think it's ready again for 3450. So I guess 2600 levels should be the level that he can add more.
Okay, all right. Well, Shahina, BSE was under pressure on account of that news about increase of regulatory fees. Do you think that would be a significant dampener to the fundamentals?
See, the investors bought it at a good price. I've also bought it at very low prices and I'm holding it even despite this negative news that has hit us. The issue is that, yes, it's going to impact the profitability quite a bit. The growth that we were looking at in terms of earnings and the profitability, especially in terms of EPS, valuations, over the next 2 to 3 years, they may be affected. Now, while there is options where BSE can go ahead and increase, recover some bit of it, say maybe 25-30%, and reduce the, actual the cost that it will have to pay to to SEBI. At the same time, it is going to have an impact. So to that extent, what I believe is that an investor should be willing to see consolidation around current levels for at least a couple of quarters, a year. But since since they've given such a good return, I would continue holding for the longer term. And because the opportunity is very big in the long term, and so I suggest the investor continues holding, but expect some consolidation.
Okay, all right. Expect to continue holding, but expect some consolidation when it comes to BSE. Well, for the markets, it's continuing its downtrend. There's no significant incremental downtrend which has taken place. But if you look at it on an absolute level, we have the Nifty, which is down around 258 odd points, the sensex, which is holding with a loss of around 1000 odd points, and the mid-cap index, which is down over 300 odd points. So a lot of losers this afternoon, especially in terms of the frontline space. To put it into perspective, there are only 13 stocks gaining within the Nifty out of 50. So majority are declining. Bharti Airtel, Reliance Industries, Nestle, Maruti, L&T, all of these heavyweights are in the red as of now. But Siddharth Gupta now writes to us from Mumbai. He holds 1,000 shares of Tata Steel, which is bought at around 147, and 300 shares of Petronet LNG, which is bought at around 309. He wants to know what to do, whether he should hold or sell these stocks. Well, let's start with you, Shahina, on this one. Both these stocks, what would you recommend?
Well, Tata Steel I would definitely hold for the longer term. Though we have seen some softness in steel prices because the demand in China is a bit softer as of now, and also they are facing some issues regarding their real estate. But at the same time, I believe Tata Steel, they're reducing the debt, numbers overall are improving. They're likely to continue to do well. Raw material prices are stable. So I would suggest continue to hold Tata Steel. As far as Petronet LNG goes, I believe there is still some bit upside left. So the investor can continue to hold. But in my view, at a higher level, one can look to book profits because, they've got this huge capex plans, which in my view is likely to be a, drag over the long term for the company. Shorter term, yeah, gas prices are pretty good So they, have come down. So they're good for Petronet LNG. Crude oil prices remaining above $80, likely to strengthen further. So to that extent, Petronet LNG should do well over the next couple of quarters. But I would keep a target and look to switch.
Okay, and what would your view be, Vaishali, on both these stocks?
So let's start with Tata Steel. Overall, metal index has been doing very well, and Tata Steel too has a very good trend. So I would say 155 acts as a support, and we've been seeing good momentum since last 2-3 days. It's just today that we are seeing a little bit of a lull in this stock. So I would say continue holding with a stop loss of 155 and look for a target of 180 to 190 as a positional trade. As far as Petronet is concerned, well, we've seen a good run up already. So though the longer term horizon, it looks positive, but I would say if it's well calculated strategy, then 300 should be the stop loss and hold this stock.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So that's the view coming in on Petronet LNG. Well, and Tata Steel. Well, we need to take a short break on that note, but a lot more queries lined up. It's a weak market. We'll be tracking that as well. Stay tuned. Welcome back. 22,400 currently for the Nifty. There's been a tad bit of a recovery which has taken place on an intraday basis for the sensex. So it's down around 950 odd points as compared to an over 1,000 point cut. So do watch out for that. Adani Green numbers, net profit is down around 70 odd percent, 150 odd crores. Revenue is down around 2 odd percent. We'll get to those numbers in just a bit. As you can see, the stock has corrected around 1.7% on the back of that. But Shahina, would you have a view on a stock such as Adani Green?
I believe it's expensive valuations, so I don't really track it closely.
Okay. The technicals, Vaishali, do they interest you?
So right now, well, I would say there's nothing really drastic happening in the stock. I would say 1650 should act as a crucial support because ever since the Adani group going through the negative news and all, it has somehow held on to these levels. So the clarity comes only with a breach or a break of either of the levels. So below 1650, it turns weak, and above 2000, it confirms further strength for higher targets. So that's how I would look at this stock.
Okay, all right. Well, Rajat Sharma now writes to us from New Delhi, holds 5 shares of IndusInd Bank, which he's bought at around 350 odd rupees. So a good price there. He wants to know what to do, whether he should add more. Well, I'll start with the fundamentals because he's already sitting on a very good upside when it comes to IndusInd Bank. But do you think that it's good for more, Vaishali? Do you think that one should probably buy IndusInd considering that the highs of the stock were closer to 1700?
So I would say wait it out because right now currently market is really at a make or break levels. So if we see Nifty breaking decisively, then of course IndusInd could go as low as 1380 or so. So if not in a hurry, wait for those levels or start accumulating at every low because the stock does overall long-term stock chart is very positive. But because of this choppiness and because of the events that we are going to witness soon, I think market will go through some choppiness. So 1380 technically acts as a very strong support, and that is how he should start adding more to accumulate.
Okay, what about you, Shahina, on this particular counter, IndusInd Bank? Profit was up around 15 odd percent, but was aided by their investment income. What would you recommend on this stock?
Yeah, Ekta, actually I agree with the levels that Vaishali has suggested to add. It's better to add on dips. Numbers were in line, as you mentioned. At the same time, I think, price to book around, if 1 year forward, if you look at it, it's about 1.7 times, which is reasonable. And they have guided for a good growth, decent double-digit growth in terms of loan. They have got a PCR of about 71%, which is good. So I would believe that it's better to buy the stock at dips rather than at current levels and hold it for the medium to longer term.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get another query now. Abhishek writes to us from Hyderabad, holds 10 shares of KPIT Technologies, which is bought at around 1130 odd rupees. And he's a long-term investor, wants to know what to do, whether to hold or sell, and that too for a 12 to 18 month view. Well, let's get to the fundamentals on this first. Shahina, 1130 odd rupees is what KPIT is bought at. It's currently at around 1526. Do you think that it's good for more fundamentally?
Well, the sentiment for the overall IT sector remains subdued. But having said that, in KPIT, if you saw the numbers, they were one of the best in the sector. And also the guidance has been pretty healthy. They are looking at a guidance of margins, EBITDA margins of 20.5%, which is better than what we had expected to hear from them. And a revenue guidance on a constant currency basis of 18 to 22%, which is also, much better than what is expected of the rest in the sector. Valuations are expensive, have always remain expensive, but I think to that extent one can continue to hold, keep stop loss, hold for the long term.
Okay, all right. And what about you, Vaishali? 12 to 18 month horizon.
Definitely. So this stock, we have currently also recommended this to our clients because I will explain well, it has got a long-term very strong uptrend. Currently what we witnessed was that it took support twice, making a double bottom on the 200-day moving average. So which has a good base of support at around 1380 levels. And from there on, we are seeing the stock is surging high. So I would say for near term, if he has to make a buying strategy, 1400 should act as a support, and I am recommending this for a target of 1750. From there on, we can have a relook. So this is my target for now. And for higher targets, we can see further on.
Okay, all right. That's on KPIT. Shivananda writes to us from Karnataka with an investment query, wants to know the future prospects of Infybeam and whether he should buy the shares or not. Well, it's an investment query. The stock is at around 33 odd rupees. 52-week high stands at over 40 odd rupees. Let's start with you, Shahina, on this one. It's a part of the BSE 500, broader market stock. What would you recommend?
It's still a small cap, and I would believe one can buy on dips because the news flow that is coming out is pretty strong. They have recently got the RBI approval for payment aggregator, and this will enable them to add new merchants, increase their overall footprint on their platform, and the management is talking of very strong growth going forward. Especially having this license in hand. Also, in terms of their international business, they're consolidating their digital payment platform, and they're doing pretty well, actually. So one can buy, but buy on dips.
Okay, all right. Buy, but buy on dips. So is that your recommendation too, Vaishali? What would your target be on the stock if you have any?
Yes, I would agree with China because right now it is consolidating to a bit of profit booking that we are witnessing. So 30 acts as a very good support. That should be the level that one should look out for a buying opportunity. And as such, it is having a range of between 30 to 40. The stock will get momentum above 40 levels. So right now the strategy is 30 to 40, which is of course quite a range. But above 40, it will have further more strength to look for targets of 50 and so on.
Okay, all right. That's on Infybeam. Maybe there could be targets of around 50 odd on that particular counter. Vishwans Khatri writes to us from Gujarat, holds 60 shares of transformers and rectifiers at an average price of 740 since last week. Wants to know whether to hold or to sell this particular counter. Well, Vaishali, you go first on this one.
Well, I think for now it's just a dip. But if the stock breaks the 600, 590 levels, then he should exit.
Okay, all right. So 600 to 590 levels are crucial on that particular counter. And what about you, Shahina?
I would also say that he should switch. Fourth quarter numbers were very strong, but at the same time, if you look at it on an overall annual basis, they were more or less flattish in terms of profits especially, and valuations are extremely expensive. So though of course the investor is losing some money, I see further downside. So I would prefer that he switches.
Okay, all right, Shahina, as well as Vaishali. On that note, we're going to thank you. But before we go, Vaishali, wanted your thoughts in terms of key levels for the mid-cap index as well. do you think that this would probably be a good opportunity to buy, considering the kind of outperformance and resilience we've seen from the mid caps and small caps?
So, well, I'm looking at mid-cap 100. There is a strong band of resistance between 51,300 to 51,500. And today is one such day that we are seeing some exhaustion in the cycle. So let's see what happens, follow up, whether are we sustaining at these levels. Then that could depict that, yes, it's just a consolidation that's going on right now. But if we see good selling, then, well, I think one should be cautious. So it's a wait and watch, too early to say. But yes, if we move past 51,300, 51,500, then it's a follow-on of strength in this sector.
Okay, all right, Vaishali as well as Shahina, thanks very much for taking the time out answering all those questions, and wish you a good weekend as well. Well, on that note, we need to wrap up on the show, but do remember to email us your questions. We'll address them with our experts. Closing bell up next.